Lone Star PAC and all these other crappy people who clearly know nothing about civil liberties or economics. Davis has been polled on average at 33.7%, so roughly 34% on average. Her lowest was 21%, 8 points behind Abbott, and her highest was 40%, 10 points behind Abbott at his highest. Only 3% behind Abbott's average. The Libertarian candidate, Kathy Glass, was only included in one poll, and she was polled at 5% of the vote. She was beaten in one poll by the Tea Party candidate that is no longer in the race, who got 8%. I think she's running for comptroller. I don't even care to look it up. But it's interesting because the Texas poll has an average of 21% undecided voters. Now, if Kathy Glass won the entire 21% plus her 5%, that's only 26, and it's not going to trump Abbott's 42 or Davis's 33. But the top number of undecided voters was 50%. The lowest was 8. So it's not impossible for a dark horse candidate Libertarian to get through. I don't know if Kathy's going to do it or not, but there it is. It is a possibility. But as it stands right now, Greg Abbott's got a 9% lead over Davis. It's not a double-digit lead. That's terrifying. The idea that a Republican in Texas is not leading double digits, that's not good. Like, I can't even tell you how many people are like, oh, these Democrats will never win in Texas. Brr, 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 brr. Look, Abbott does not even have a double-digit lead. That's not good. That's not okay. This is not something you can just look at and accept. I mean, people need to get involved in this state. Granted, these polls, like I said, I quite frankly don't trust them all that much, but it's still, an idea. I mean, we'll have a better idea as this year rolls out, but I still think that more people in Texas need to get involved in the campaigns. Personally, I much prefer Kathy Glass to Greg Abbott. Greg Abbott has opposed gay marriage laws. He's trying to sue Anise Parker in Houston for providing same-sex benefits to city employees that have been married in other cities. Look, let me tell you. As a Christian, you don't have to, as a Christian, you probably shouldn't approve of gay marriage from a moral standpoint. You should look at it and say, I know this to be sinful. But legally speaking, the right to marry whomever you want is not something you should be opposed to. Legally speaking. Now, does that mean that they can walk into your church and force your pastor to marry them? Hell no. Does it mean that you have to be nice to them and call them your husband, your wife, etc., etc.? No, you don't even have to talk to these people. You can say, I don't recognize your marriage. You don't even have to say anything to them at all. But the idea that the government can tell you who you can and cannot be dumb enough to contract your life to, including but not limited to multiple people, people of the same sex, the mentally handicapped, or a jar of tomato sauce, is stupid. The government should not be involved in marriage. If you believe in freedom, if you believe in living in a free society, the government should not be telling anybody who they can or cannot marry. If you want to marry a bridge because just, gosh darn it, you really like the hang of that bridge, the cut of its support beams, you should be allowed to marry that bridge. If you are the strongest, best, most ardent cat lady in the world, and you want to marry your top cat? I don't care. I don't care. If you're dumb enough to marry a cat, by all freaking means, marry a cat. You're dumb enough to marry a cat. Who cares? It's your life. It doesn't affect me. I think you're stupid. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It in no way impacts my life. If somebody is homosexual and they want to marry their partner, who the hell cares? Who cares? Who cares? If you're opposed to gay marriage, then don't get gay married. If you're opposed to gay marriage, then don't support the practice on your own. Don't invite same-sex couples into your church to get married. Don't go to their weddings. If you have a serious problem with it, all of those things you're entitled to do. You don't have to approve it. You don't have to like it. You don't have to sanction it. But legally speaking, do you really want the government to tell you what the hell you can and cannot do with your life? Unless you're a commie, the answer should be hell no. The government shouldn't be involved in this crap. It's pointless. Gay people should be entitled to be just as miserable as everyone else. Also, who cares? I cannot emphasize enough, who cares? And, a lot of people talk about God being involved, and a lot of people talk about how, well, God, doesn't like it, and as a Christian, I've got to fight against it, etc., etc. That's nonsense, okay? That's utter nonsense. The most Christian of Christians cannot declare that God needs them to fight for something. The most Christian of Christians should know that God does not need your help. He's God. He created the universe. An omnipotent, all-powerful being who created the universe does not need your help to prevent gay people from signing a contract. He could smite them all with a bat of his eye. He didn't even have to bat his eye. A whim, a thought, the misplaced fart could destroy the whole thing. Yes, I said misplaced fart. I am talking about God's farts. So, the fact that a lot of people think that they, as Christians, have to fight against gay marriage is nonsense. The idea that you have to fight against anything is nonsense. Don't get me wrong, there are a lot of Christian causes that are human causes, such as, fighting oppression and fighting, the attempt to derail and remove Christianity from the mainstream culture. That's all good and fine. If you want to fight against that, that's somebody infringing on your beliefs personally, and God's not going to help you in that front. I mean, he could choose to. What the hell do I know? But God helps those who help themselves. And in situations like that, where it affects you, you should be defending yourself. God gave you free will and the ability to do so. In instances like gay marriage, where it does not affect you, you have no business getting involved because it displeases God. If something displeases God, why don't you let him handle it? He doesn't need you to take care of business for him. He doesn't need you to do his job. He doesn't need you to prevent people from doing one thing or the other. You want to talk about saving their souls? Talk to him about how great God is. That's good and fine. That's just. Because they can choose to ignore you. They can choose not to listen. But the idea that you can take laws into your hands and demand that people act in a way you think is acceptable is outrageous. Because you would never, ever accept a Democrat telling you that you had to be gay for a week. I mean, that's about the level of ridiculousness when you apply it across party lines. To a Democrat, denying gay marriage legally on Christian standpoints would be equivalent to them making a law declaring you have to be gay for a week once in your life. I know a lot of you are saying, that's insane, they could never do... Well, that's the equivalent of telling gay people they can't get married. Not exactly. I mean, the equivalent would be obviously to say straight people can't get married. But I'm talking about in levels of outrage. In levels of how legal it is. How just it is. How constitutional it is. It would be like passing a law saying you have to be gay for a week. So there's that. But the idea that we've got people in this country, especially here in Texas, and politicians like Greg Abbott, who aren't doing their part to be more liberty-minded, just shows you that politicians are not in touch with the people. Conservatives, the most staunch conservatives, are becoming more libertarian than anything else. It's more about freedom than it is about, good old-fashioned American values. It's not, we don't want your kind around here no more. It's more like, hey, people are free. Get your hand out of my pocket. And that's good. That's a very good thing. It's a great thing. More and more people are becoming libertarians. Conservatives, most of you, all of you listening, if not all of you, most of you listening right now are libertarians who just haven't accepted it yet. Because you think libertarians are kooky, or you're like, I don't smoke weed, I can't be a libertarian. I don't smoke weed either. But I don't think the government should tell me what I should drink, what I should eat, what I should smoke, what I should do. Because I believe in being free. And that's the crux of it. A great many of you people at home listening, you want to be free. You believe everybody should be free. Now, there's a few issues that probably most of you haven't quite figured out how to justify it yet, in terms of, how can I do this and still be a conservative, etc., etc. The fact of the matter is that you've got more people coming around. More people are saying, if you're dumb enough to smoke weed and, ruin your brain and be on drugs, then you should be able to do it. Let evolution weed you out of good jobs and being successful. Hey, I'm right there with you. If you're dumb enough to smoke weed every day and be high all the time and as Ayn Rand would put it, be unconscious, that's something we should let you do. I'm okay with everybody I know getting incredibly high, and I'll just get promoted at work and get a raise and not deal with that anymore. I am totally okay with letting people self-destruct. Why does it matter to me if they're that stupid? It doesn't. My self-interest and my freedom are what's important. And being concerned with my freedom maximizes the freedom of others. Remember that. Anytime you defend your freedom to do anything, you are defending the freedom of everyone around you to do that thing and other things. In the case of marriage, you are defending your right to marry whoever you want, and other people's rights too. Same thing goes with the First Amendment and everything else. Alright, folks, we didn't quite get to the open carry stuff. That's fine. I'll post it on the site for all of you to check out later. Great open carry case was carried by the Blaze. I'll put it up for you to look at. It's been a great episode. It's been a great week. I hope we will see you here next week. Remember, you can click this link anytime to listen to the show. Catch it anytime at the same place. Tell your friends. America our way, people.